Hey everybody, welcome back to the Patcast. I'm Pat, and this week we bring you part 2 of our session with Bob Saget. If you aren't caught up yet, you can always hear the previous episode at iTunes, SoundCloud, and patcast.com. Last week we talked with Bob about how he got into comedy in the first place and how he ended up where he is today. But we also talked a bit about tragedy, and he's seen some of that in his life. He lost a sister to a condition called scleroderma. It's a terrible affliction, and as Bob mentioned, it's not very well known to people. So I think it's good that he did talk about that so we can get more information. He's doing his part to help fight against scleroderma, and he is involved with an organization called the Scleroderma Research Foundation. They do an annual fundraiser in San Francisco every year, obviously, if it's annual. And this year is actually coming up on Wednesday. Train will be performing at the fundraiser, along with lots of other entertainers and some great food made by celebrity chefs from Food Network. The money goes straight to scleroderma research, so it's really a great cause. If by chance you're going to be in San Francisco this week and you have the means and inclination to come out, you can find out more about that at srfcure.org. Last week, we got Bob to sing Marry Me as Barry Gibb. He had a very interesting take on that song, and he claims that he's thought about going up to girls with a boombox like John Cusack and Say Anything and playing them Marry Me. This week, we actually get him to sing a whole song, and he gives us a pretty great, pretty heartbreaking performance, actually. I get into my wife's questions here as well, and of course, Bob took them as long-form essay questions for the most part, but he comes around to some interesting and, of course, very funny stuff this part of the interview. And again, if you haven't checked it out yet, Bob's new book is called Dirty Daddy, and he's on tour right now doing stand-up shows in Australia and select cities in the U.S. So check out his website to see if he's going to be anywhere near you. So let's get right into it now, part 2 of our interview with Bob Saget. Here it is on the Patcast.
What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you. You got to get it while the getting is good. Laugh when you can, cry when you should. You got to give it till the giving is gone. Do what you can, then you move on. What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you.
How you're going to be, and, hopefully they will. But I wondered if you would sing a song with me.
I would like that very much.
Jerry's here. He's not very good, but he's all I got.
Tell him a little bit about the story. It was incredible.
Well, this is interesting. I was asked to, and it, I guess it's already been in the Wall Street Journal. I'm not sure of the timing of this podcast and this article, but there's really a great guy. I have his name somewhere. I actually should say it and give credit to the guy because he's such a cool dude. His name is Mark, but I want to know his full name because he deserves. I would not have thought of this. He asked me. The Wall Street Journal has a common problem, which is they're smart. No, the Wall Street Journal has a column. I'm not really good. I have little knowledge of everything. His name is Mark Myers, and he writes this article. And it's he asked me what's my favorite song, and I was talking to you on the phone. I was up north, up the coast, as we say, just about 10 minutes from here. And I was just in my car because I live in my car. And he just said, "What's your favorite song?" And I said, "I can't pick. How do you pick a favorite song?"
Yeah, sure.
And so I said, "You Are My Sunshine," because it's a complex song because it's pretty sad. And people think of it as a cheerful song. And then in the article, I had to go and Wikipedia the song, which then you want to go to a real source because Wikipedia it even has the word Wiccan in it. I mean, I think it's witch's work. But the song was credited in 1940 to Jimmy Davis, who became governor of Louisiana 4 years later. So he already sounds sketchy.
Sure.
He was a governor of Louisiana, which means he's like, you know.
Probably smoked crack. Because I think that's what governors and mayors do now.
He definitely did not reinforce the levees. So this is a guy that did not help the city. Maybe he ate a lot of catfish.
Maybe.
And etouffee. But there's a dispute about where it came from. But I was impressed with it because I'd heard a couple versions done by Willie Nelson, and Johnny Cash's version is a version that
heartbreaking. Listen to him sing that song, man. It's like, well, I think the reason it sounds like a cheerful song is because the chorus.
Yeah.
But then the part where it's "You'll never know, dear, how much I love you," is like, that's the bit that people don't really pay attention to. But if you listen to the verses, you realize she never will know because she's not coming back. You know, like it's a heartbreaker.
And he's with her for a little bit in this. It was funny because I was talking to you a few days ago, and I hadn't talked to the gentleman, the writer at Wall Street Journal yet, and you said that is, of course you want to sing that. That's what you said to me, because it's an antithesis song. It's kind of how I like to...
Do you feel like music still makes an impression on people like when we were kids?
The whole deal. I think
you think music still makes that, like, like the scenery of your life more enhanced? Like it's still working, right?
It always will. And I'm always shocked that music gets better. I don't even know how another song gets written. You always think, oh, that's it. That they can't. How can they do another song?
Right.
And you hear things like, oh, that just sounds like that.
Yeah.
I remember I was 22 or something, and I was driving on La Cienega, making a left on Santa Monica Boulevard, and Every Breath You Take came on the radio. It was the first time I ever heard it.
And you were like, wow.
As I heard the bass on that, and I was like, what is that? Yeah. And then I just played it over and over. You couldn't play it on your car thing because we didn't have anything. Right. We just had cars that crashed into things. I think it was on like 900 Ludes that day. After seeing Wolf of Wall Street, it really made Ludes popular. I'll bet you they're back now.
I bet Ludes are coming back.
Which brings me to You Are My Sunshine.
How's this tempo?
It's a sweet. Is it too? Is that the tempo Johnny had?
I don't know. It's a long song. So
less bouncy is good. Less. Yeah, you do everything right. You make chicken.
Do you like to start with a verse? Or
I like to go slow. I like to make it really sad and depressing. I guess I'll start. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I laid sleeping, I dreamed I held you by my side. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken, and I hung my head and cried.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy, the skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You told me once, dear, you really love me, and no one else could come between. And now you've left me, and you love another, and you have shattered all my dreams.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I'll always love you and make you happy if you will only say the same. But if you leave me to love another, you'll regret it all someday. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Please don't take my sunshine away.
You might have just ruined my life with that, Bob. Let's sing that at the.
So scary. Is there?
Let's sing that at the benefit that we do in San Francisco.
Let's do that and then
we'll just
parade around
get
sick people.
We'll get the whole group to just bawl cry with us.
I thought Bob, what would you like to sing on the podcast? A dirge. Let's sing something that comes out of nowhere and people go, "What is that? Why are they doing that?"
Well, it's cool though that you recognize something in a song that I think most people miss. Like, I just think that's maybe the artist in you. Like, we are all somehow artists, whether it's like words and communicating. You're an artist of communicating with people. Like, you figured out how to do that at a high level and make people laugh and cry and do all the things that you do in this song.
You're very, very kind. I should mutually admiration
No, you
society
don't,
back.
like,
you
I
have an
don't
amazing,
need that stuff. I just
you have an amazing
I just
range,
want you to
and
know.
I say that because I've seen your kitchen.
Yeah,
You have an
thanks.
amazing
Thank
range,
you.
amazing, and your stove
Yeah.
is your range,
Well,
and
thanks.
that's your
I,
refrigerator's great.
I wanted to make sure that I interrupted this by asking you a few questions that my wife likes me to ask.
Please,
And then this
I
way,
pull out really quick.
what's that?
Is that the? I'm just assuming what she was asking.
Yeah, she wanted the first
I
question
change a
she
headboard
asked
monthly.
is, when do you plan on getting your fucking shit together?
Oh, so
That's-
she.
Oh wait, that was for me.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I thought
That
she
was
really
for
knew
me.
me.
Hold on, let's go to the other one. Actually, she wants to know. I ask everybody these similar questions. One is, what's the best thing you found on tour from traveling the world? Like a little hideaway place or something. Like I've interviewed some athletes, and there was. It's not there anymore, but there was this club in Seattle that you could go to at all hours of the night, and all the Major League Baseball guys knew about it, so they loved going to play the Mariners, mostly because they would beat the Mariners, but then they would go to this club and they would just get shit-faced and do the whole thing until like 5 a.m. Plus there's other people that are like, oh, there's this great burger joint or whatever the thing is that
Do you
found.
have ththose places? Do you have that? When you, I didn't mean to flip it right back
Well,
on you, but
no. My favorite find on tour is a place in Paia, a place in Maui. It's called the Maui Fish Market, and it's the best fish sandwich that I've ever had in my life. It's you can't understand how good it is until you've had it. That's my little find. But there's like people. I think Matt Nathanson, a musician friend of mine, mentioned a record store that he loved in the South. You know, there's cool places out there that only people like us find because we're in search of whatever, you know?
I actually just went to Kansas City, and I went to Jack Stack's Barbecue, and I kind of planned the gig to eat that food.
Really?
So I did the gig.
Really?
And I took the guy that I was going with, Mike Young. He's a really good comedian and filmmaker. And I said, okay, we're going to Jack Stack's Barbecue. And we have 2 shows that night, which was an afterthought. And I literally planned it. And we got there at 1 because I knew.
In the afternoon?
Yeah, because by 3, I'd have to go to Planned Parenthood to get rid of it. Because it was a problem. I mean, I couldn't, I'm just saying I couldn't function. I mean, for like a high colonic or something. That's what I meant. Because they have all kinds of facilities in there. You know, you say Planned Parenthood, you're giving people that sounds sketchy.
I didn't say it. Yeah, that was
right,
you.
right. I was just thinking. Yeah, you didn't say anything. I want to be clear, and you want that very clear. But I ate 5 kinds of barbecue, and then I created 2 more that I didn't know existed. And it didn't seem that much different, but I loved it very, very much. And then I had 2 shows that night, and it took me 1 to sweat. It was
Right.
to get rid of the toxins.
Have you ever eaten at Rendezvous in Memphis?
No.
That's amazing. Jerry had this great Rendezvous experience when Jerry, before he became a very important musician part of Train, he was our tour manager. Maybe quite possibly the worst tour manager that ever lived.
Possibly.
And he had to park our van once, and it had a trailer on it. And we parked in this alley right by Rendezvous in this terrible hotel. And he was like, everybody just go get your shit and go check into the rooms and everything. I'll go deal with the van afterwards. So we all went in, then he came back out to park the van, and he parked it, and then he couldn't get out because in the alley was a guy with a machete chasing
Homeless
a chicken.
fight with there was a
2
fight.
homeless guys.
And there was a chicken, but there was
a chicken running around. They both had machetes, so he sat in the
So this was
car.
going to be dinner for somebody.
I just sat in the van
He
and watched
sat in the van
fight.
for an hour.
Yeah.
He couldn't get out, and we didn't have cell phones because it was right when we started. There were no
Right.
cell phones, so he just sat in there
Oh
like.
my God.
Well,
Yeah.
and then I went back to the
Did
hotel.
they kill a chicken?
No, they went away. I went back to the hotel and said, "Hey, these guys, I thought they stole my wallet because they bumped into me and everything."
Oh, yeah.
And I go, "They just got my wallet." And then he goes, "No, they didn't. I got it. It's right here." I went and tased the guy down the road. It was a whole different. Remember that?
Oh, my
The guy
God.
chased the guy who took my wallet and tased him.
You had
Wow.
a taser on you?
No, the guy from the hotel tased the guy and got my wallet
damn.
back.
Yeah, he watched the whole. So anyway, if you're ever looking for a
Memphis.
tour
This
manager,
sounds great. You really know what you're doing.
Memphis.
So you observe. You're
Yeah.
there. You're there
Yeah.
during stuff.
Amazing.
So another question would be, what are you currently a fan of? Like a lot of people, Breaking Bad, and is there new music, or is there a new comedian or somebody? Like I just found this new comedian from watching this XS TV, a guy named Anthony DeVito. I think he's very funny. Is there something or someone that you're a big fan of currently?
I've been so depleted. I actually enjoyed my.
You've been writing a book.
I've been writing a book, and I've been reading a friend's book. B.J. Novak has a book out short.
The Office guy.
Yeah. On it's short stories, and I've been enjoying it a lot.
Yeah.
So
What is the book called? Who cares?
I don't remember, but
I'm that same way. I don't remember book titles or
something
authors'
called
names.
short stories, and it's in handwriting on the cover. And he's a friend, and I don't have the internet, so
Well, he's not that good a friend.
no, he's a terrible friend. But I really like it because it's all I was able to let in were small moments. I'm a fan of weird.
One more thing.
What is it called? One More Thing.
One more thing. Stories and other stories.
It is One More Thing. Stories and Other Stories. Thank you, B.J. Novak, with periods after the B and after the J.
Oh, great. Yeah.
It's
Right.
important after you get a BJ that you have your period.
Yeah. I think it's important.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, because they're two unrelated.
But you
Yeah.
just said it was, and then
Yeah, I know.
Once
I contradict. Well, that's the thing that you got to give things the devil's advocate. Now, the devil's advocate is apparently a lawyer. Or no, the devil's advocate is a gay newspaper for the devil. It's his own private paper, I guess.
So,
it's the devil's advocate.
Another question that she has is, why at this phase do you continue to do this? Why do you
that's
work so
fascinating.
hard? What's that?
That's fascinating to me because people ask me that, and I feel like this is the truth. I feel like I have not even started yet.
Me too, man.
I feel like I have not begun. I feel like I did all this stuff, and people know me for certain things, and that has
Yeah.
nothing to do with.
And how do you feel
what I
about how
came here to
people
do.
know you? Like, do you care? Are you proud? Or are you like, like, how do you feel about?
I try not to give it much thought of how people know me because as a guy in my 30s, which I'm not, I was obsessed with, oh my God, they know me from this and this, and I'm not this. Oh, why do they think of me as the not funny guy when, oh my God, and then it's just a different stages of denial and then acceptance.
It's true, isn't it? It's just all
now
your brain.
I'm really excited that I'm going through the stuff I'm going through because I know it's going to surprise me as much as surprise people that are, I guess you'd call them fans, or people that like my work, and the people that don't. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. That's what I've learned, especially with a lot of loss.
And do you think that you
it just
get
doesn't matter.
better? Do you think you get better as you care less about outside acceptance or people who do get it? When you show up in a packed out place because you pretty much sell everything out all the time anyway, is that kind of all you need? Because when you don't sell something out, there's something depressing that happens, even if there's 3 tickets left.
And I've had half a house. You'll go to a place where some reason it didn't catch fire, and you wish it caught fire before you had to play it.
Yeah, man.
But the audience tells you that they're your relationship that night.
That's right.
And it's always a nice relationship. People go, well, are you gonna be funny? And that's one of the weird things that you get from people sometimes. And it's like saying to your pilot, are you going to get me to Cleveland? It's like, yeah, I have to. Yeah, of course.
That's my job.
It'd be different levels of funny. Maybe not to you because you asked that question.
Right.
So you already got your arms folded. So you're not going to necessarily
and
find it funny.
do you feel like as a comedian, does it bother you that when people are around you, they want you to do your thing? Does that bug
sometimes,
you?
and especially if I'm doing on the radio, I'm doing press, and I'm not. Hold on, I'm adjusting this mic because it got down to my Adam's apple, and it really bothered me because
you have a beautiful, smooth Adam's apple area.
I actually had it filed down during this podcast. Thank you. I have a little miniature Keebler man inside my neck, and he's filing it from the inside.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's good to have a man in your throat.
I have always said that.
Yeah. That's well. Then there's the devil's advocate, which
I was like, get that guy out of your throat.
They're not necessarily in agreement with the regular advocate,
right?
Now, on the other hand,
it's a great newspaper.
It is. It's really good. Both of them. No, I don't. I don't. You're not supposed to care what people think about you, but you do. They say don't read good reviews, don't read bad reviews.
Yep.
But honestly, if you're on the front of something and they haven't panned you're going to look, and it's in color. Don't read it. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't Google yourself. Everyone says don't Google.
Has it ever been enough? Have you ever gotten enough? Because for me, it's an abyss. There's no platform that I'll stand on one day and say, I'm here.
I definitely don't feel that way. I've had a couple moments where I savor them and go, oh, that's cool. I like that.
Right.
My daughters, I feel that way, but then there's the next, everything's the next moment. Everything has the next moment. Everything's fine.
Does it ever frustrate you? Like, is
life.
Ambition a curse or a blessing? Have you figured that out yet?
It's a blessing. Ambition is a positive, unless you're, sometimes there's blind ambition, but I loved Roy Orbison, and I thought that he was. I met him once at the Letterman show, and I walked up to him.
That's amazing.
And he couldn't see me too good, apparently, because he had sight problems. I don't know if all your listeners know that. And I went up to Roy Orbison, and I said, I just want to tell you that I admire your work so much. And he said, oh, thanks, man. And then I went right to the person next to him, and I said, I just want to tell you that I admire your work so much. And then by the third person, he just said, okay. And he was laughing. And those dressing rooms were tiny. They were the NBC little rooms. But, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say there's a story of a similar guy named Bob Dylan that a friend of mine, his friend met, he was standing in Starbucks next to Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's got his hood over his head, sunglasses on, and so he's texting my friend like, dude, I'm standing next to Bob Dylan. Should I say something to him? He's like, you have to. He's Bob Dylan. He's your hero. So he goes, Mr. Dylan, I just wanted to say how much I admire your music, and you've made a huge impression on my life, and I just wanted to say thank you. And Bob Dylan said, no time for nobody.
Bob Dylan.
That's amazing, right?
But no, Bob Dylan got no time for nobody.
Yeah, Bob Dylan said, no time for nobody. That's an amazing response. I wish Roy Orbison would have said that to you.
I was at a party, and I went up to Tom Petty once, and this is like 30 years ago, and I said, and he looked down over his glasses and he went, I know, man. I know.
Whoa.
It was like, you just don't have to say anything.
He must have learned that from Bob Dylan.
It's
Because they
gotta
were in
just-
the Traveling Wilburys together. They probably laughed about
I
that
ran
shit all
after
day
Jeff
long.
Lynne in a restaurant about 3 months ago. I was in a restaurant
Another
in LA.
Wilbury.
So those are the four
We're
guys.
doing Wilburys
Yeah.
now.
Those
and
are
then
the
George
four.
Harrison, no.
Was George
Kevin
Harrison
Bacon.
in there? Oh,
Yeah.
the five of them.
And
Okay.
Keltner was the drummer.
Craziness. Who was?
Keltner. Jim Keltner.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it was funny. It was 3 guys are leaving, and they looked like a mature band.
Yeah.
We're like, who is that? God, it's a Def Leppard? Who is that? See, a significant amount of hair, and a guy's got a cool
Yeah.
jacket on, and there's some interesting jewelry in the air. And and someone said, the waitress came over, and I said, could you just tell me who that was? She said, I believe that was Electric Light Orchestra. I said, no, you didn't say that. And then I just went out and asked my friend to see if it was Jeff Lynne, and I was like that much of a douche. And it was like I sent him out, and then Jeff Lynne came back and went, "Oh, hey man," I said, "I know who you are. You're funny."
Oh, that's.
And then I went, "Well, I just wanted to say it's an honor to meet you, sir."
Oh, that's cool.
Absolutely. I don't know why it
that's
sounds
nice.
like my version of Cary Grant and Bruce Jenner.
Yeah,
but-
you're very Cary Grant.
Oh, Judy, so good to see you. Hello, how are you?
Yeah.
Do you do impressions?
No, Jimmy Fallon does. Boy, does he do everything.
Amazing,
It's
right?
just amazing. I never saw anything
That
like
guy
it.
is way more talented than I ever gave him credit for.
Yeah, well, he's doing it.
Yeah, he's really doing it.
Keeping it to the streets.
Does that shit bug you at all when you see somebody, like, would you have wanted your own talk show like that?
I did it one time. I don't have a competitive gene in my
don't have
body
that?
against other people.
You really don't.
No, I did. I sure did. I really did.
But
I
you
mean, I
don't
was
anymore.
doing a sitcom and a blooper show, so I
Sure.
was going, why didn't I have this happen and that
Right.
happen? And now I just want to do something that feels fulfilling to me.
Do you think you'll write and direct a movie or anything? Because
Yeah.
that seems like the natural next move.
There's a movie right now that I want to direct and be in that's written that I've been in. I had friends with this producer that I've been working on for a couple of years, and I like it. So
There's a thing around Hollywood now that they talk about 2 different movies. One is your hundreds of millions of dollar action movie. That's what's filling all the theaters. And then
Right.
the other one is very low budget, like a couple of millions of dollars, maybe 10 tops.
Yeah.
And that's it. And
Yeah.
do you think you could make a movie for $10 million?
I could make this one is a $5 million movie.
5.
because it's a short, small location. So yeah, and it's I love directing. I've directed a couple things.
Well, you've directed, like, I love Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
And is he still a friend of yours?
Yeah, and he's an unusual cat.
He is, right?
That was funny because I was doing the audiobook recording of my book, which I haven't mentioned in, I guess, about an hour, Dirty Daddy. And it's It Books, HarperCollins. And there's a chapter on it in the book called, there's one chapter that's an homage to thanking the experiences of the Aristocrats, Entourage, and getting roasted. And then there's another chapter which
How come you haven't been roasted?
He did.
Because you,
I was.
Yeah,
oh, you
was
were roasted.
Yeah, so it's about that.
Oh, I gotta see.
Yeah, John
I haven't seen
Stamos
that
was
one.
the
Yeah.
roast master. And
Wait, I saw that
Yeah,
one.
you did.
It's incredible.
it was a fun. Most people saw it.
And when you
And Norm Macdonald was
right.
Yeah.
Norm Macdonald went off road, and
This is the one.
Yeah.
This is the best. This was his best work ever because
Well,
he.
that's been an
he-
interesting
He went
topic of
straight,
conversation. Yeah,
Right.
and it was so funny.
And I actually just had to record the audiobook for my book, so I ended up kind of doing an impression of Norm. So what Norm said, I called Norm and called him and said, I want you to do my roast. He goes, I don't do roast, man. You know, it makes fun of people. I don't do impressions either, by the way. I'm just trying to.
Sure,
It's easier than just saying I don't do roasts. But he just went. It's mean, and you're my friend, so I don't want to be mean. I'm just going to read old jokes.
It's
and
so
I said,
funny.
I don't know. He said, I got a joke book from like the 40s, and I'm going to just read jokes.
I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever
curse. You should say fuck or something. Sometimes, Norm, he goes, I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
So he got up there and he was like,
seen. It was unbelievably funny.
he went, Bob, you've got a face like a flower, a cauliflower. And then there's like no. I'm looking at him like, I'm like staring at him. He goes, I'm saying you got a fucking dog face. And then I'm like, what are you doing? What? And I'm laughing my head off.
He doesn't know how to roast.
He did it purposely, and he had his cards, and he did it in a Johnny Carson
And then
fashion.
his funniest joke was, oh yeah, there's I can't remember the older lady who
Cloris Leachman.
Yeah, Cloris Leachman. Hey, she said people say she's over the hill. Hey, she'd never get over the hill in that car. Hers.
Not the way you drive. I think that's what he said.
It's
And he also-
amazing.
it
was the
said,
greatest.
People wish you well, Bob. They'd like to throw you down one. Down a well. And he just keeps illustrating. He's such a funny man.
And
One
he
of the
got
funniest
panned
people.
for that. And I thought it was...
he got both though. He got that. That's what you say.
was
Who you're doing it
genius,
for? He
man.
got it. They said it was the best comedy and the worst comedy, which I get a lot. Is actually, I've done interviews, and someone said what happens is there'll be a real a valid writer that will do an interview with you, and you go, wow, that's a cool interview, and they'll say, this is why I love your work. You're a great artist, and then some stranger will have a blog, and they will say, you're the worst comedian. He's the worst comedian ever. And it's not, they don't interview you, they just trash you.
Sure.
And it's no different than going to, some food website that people write in about. Their service was terrible.
Right.
So you've got this person that interviewed you for a newspaper and a big online thing from whatever newspaper it was. And then they give it equal billing to you're the worst comedian because they look for it, because they try to find it.
Right.
And that's what people say. They say you're the worst comedian and the best comedian. I go, no. People say I'm the worst comedian. That was somebody's blog. That's not a people, but you have to validate it. So now you've got now you're at 50-50 with do I suck or am I good?
Do you care about all that shit?
No, it's just I get asked it, so I
Did you
respond
used
to
to?
it.
Like when
Yeah,
the internet
terrible.
started to explode,
I got so upset.
you must,
Oh, it says you wait. Well, I did this thing. There's this real famous reviewer, and I always liked him. It was a TV reviewer, and I was on TV. So it was Tom Shales, very famous reviewer from Chicago. And I was on the video show, and I did a VHS video at the time of the best videos of animals and pets. And we shot it in a house that had cats in it, and I'm allergic to cats.
Me too.
So I couldn't breathe, and they made me shoot there. And so I shot a 12-hour day of the video for cats and dogs while a cat was there. They got rid of the cat, but you can't breathe, right?
Sure.
Your throat closes off.
you just get like crazy.
That's why the Adam's apple's got to get filed
You
down.
got to file that bitch down.
And then
Bob,
you don't
I've said it
inhale.
before. You
So
can get so much more air, and it takes the allergic reaction of cats out. I think that's why
Maybe
Bruce
that's
did
what's
it.
going on. But this reporter, writer, a well-respected television writer who loves television, I picked up the LA Times, and the front page of the calendar section, the main section for entertainment, just said, my name, my giant picture of me. Couldn't ask for a bigger picture. Just said how I ruined videos, how I ruined the show, and how I ruined everything, and they should drop me on my head, and how much they hated me, and it was. I didn't disagree with him because I'm
Because I hate myself.
I got my notes on myself. I'm the first person to go, why'd you do that, Bob? But in that third person voice that makes me need to go away to a special place. but it was just it hurt my feelings quite a bit to be
It's
pillaged.
hard. Like people say, man, you got to have a thick skin for this. It's like, man, no, you don't. Like what you have to do is just be yourself and eventually hope that people get the whole picture. But
Or you grow past what it was that
Yeah.
you got reamed for.
I don't read reviews one way or another. Like sometimes my managers will send me hey man, this is a good one. And I go like, cool. And I never will read it because
smart.
Because I don't believe any of it. I don't believe
That's
the
what you're
good
not
and I don't
supposed to
believe
do.
the bad. It's
Right.
all bullshit. People who like what I do are going to either like they're going to tell me if they like it by showing up or not. And that's it. And other than that, there's nothing else I can do.
Yeah.
And that's
And you
all
know,
learned
and
the
you know
hard
they
way.
love you you love your work, not love you. It's not
Some
it's not a
people.
needy festival. It's you. They love what you did by how they're reacting. It's very
And there's-
wonderful.
And really, who cares about a writer who's mad at their life?
yeah.
Like they don't get to do what you do, and they're mad, and so
They don't
I'm
know
not
how
gonna-
to do what you do.
Right.
They would sing "You Are My Sunshine" like I just did, where you would sing
Well,
it
you
like
sang
you
it in
just
a way
did.
that made me want to cry.
Well, me too. I think a lot of people that love music wanted to cry the way
I think you're
sang
right.
that song.
I think you're right. So I just have two more questions, and then you can get back into traffic, which
Okay.
is probably going to
The
be
answer
awesome.
is it's 3 inches in width if
Yes.
I hammer it down. But I really got to
Which I
flatten
do.
it. Which I do. Absolutely. You know what it's like, those gel roll, you know how you unfurl those paper candy and it's flattened?
With the dots?
Not the dots.
Okay.
It's gelatin, I believe, and it's
Fruit roll-up.
Oh, fruit
Thank
roll-up.
you.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I do to it. I take it on the kitchen counter, which is that they're made that level for a reason. It's not just to chop up pork chops.
Oh.
And you can hammer that thing down, and then women won't be impressed by it, and you'll probably never recover, and you'll probably be hospitalized. But you'll be able to say that you're 5-6 inches wide, which is you'll be able to say that. But you'll probably be on pain meds, and at some point you'd probably need amputation and to be tubed.
Well,
What was your question?
Well, that's it. So yeah, that was the question. So the two questions that I have are: one, is there a standout moment that you think defined the road that you ended up on? Is there something that happened, or someone you met, or somebody who said something to you? Like for me, I was singing in Erie, Pennsylvania, and Cher's band. Cher was playing at the arena in Erie. It was only like 5,000 people, but it was much bigger than where I was singing Led Zeppelin songs. And this guy from her band, David Shelley, came in and saw me, and he was like, "Here's my phone number. You got to go to LA because you could do something there." And we never really connected in LA, but it really gave me the confidence that I needed to hear somebody tell me that who wasn't from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Right.
Like somebody who had done it. That moment started the trend or the movement for me. Do you have one of those?
I think one of the things that was deepest for me was I'd been at the Comedy Store in LA hosting and trying to get gigs, and for about 7 years I was there, one of the house MCs, and I'd see Richard Pryor a lot, and I'd bring him on stage, and then I got in a Richard Pryor movie called Critical Condition.
Amazing,
which
man.
is a Paramount movie, and I got to hang out with him with some really great actors, Joe Mantegna and Rachel Tickerton, and Randall Tex Cobb was in it, and Ruben Blades, all these cool people. Do you know him?
No.
He's so talented, and he was going to be the, I don't know, president of Panama, but that didn't pan out. But he can do anything. One of those amazing people, and so I got to hang out with Richard a little bit, and I think seeing him as a person and him being so kind to me and finding me funny gave me some inner stripes that
Right.
changed
That's
me
a good way to put
little
it.
bit.
That
And
kind of
I
thing-
wasn't friends. I was acquaintances with him. I'm not a guy that goes, "Hey, yeah, me and Richard."
Right.
But he, and I still, it's not that other people give you, I would have proceeded anyway because I was driven to do something.
Sure.
Rodney Dangerfield did the same thing for me because he
Really?
put me on his first Young Comedians
Man, dude,
special.
what an amazing. Those are two of the best ever.
They're pretty. There's a Mount Rushmore of, and now one of my dearest friends is Don Rickles. So
Wow. Dude.
he's like a dad to me. So that's
he
who
really?
I call him. I talked to him last week, and he's like, "What? What do you want?" And it's just like, "What?
so-
Do I have to talk to you?"
He's so funny still. Were you a fan of Red Fox?
Loved Red Fox.
Man, I just heard this Red Fox thing the other day where he goes, what's the difference between a pickpocket and a peeping Tom? One of them snatches watches.
Oh, that's great.
And then he never finishes
That's
the joke.
great. That's great.
But well, that's a good, Richard Pryor, man. That's a big deal. So, is there a yes or a no that you think altered your life, like by saying yes to?
Yes. Do you need to be embellished upon that?
No. I just wanted to know.
Yes, there is. There's a couple times. One was, I believe the phrase was, "You don't need a condom."
Sure,
Was the response. That's a life changer.
that will change some things.
Yep. I'll never forget him. But, but the other, I was 21 and I won the Student Academy Award for a documentary I made.
Yeah.
A merit award. My friend John Block won the actual main award. Mine was a smaller award, but nevertheless, I was flown out to LA by the Academy, and I was going to go to USC grad school for film. I got in. I was going to figure that, in about 2 years, 3 years, I'll make horror movies. I'll
Right.
direct. I'll go that
Make
route.
horror movies. Wow.
That's what they would do. They would go and make.
Wow.
That's how filmmakers began at that time. And that would have been like my master's, comedy horror movie or something. And then after 3 days, I'd been asked by Mitzi Shore, who owned the Comedy Store, you should work here and you should be a comedian. And there was no pay. But at that time, the Comedy Store, you couldn't get into it, or the Improv in LA. It was rock. Comedians became rock stars. It was
Right.
Letterman was still working there, and
Wow.
Robin was still working there, and everybody was, and Carson was coming in, Pryor was going on. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
One after another, like the biggest, Michael Keaton and Billy Crystal, all this
Wow,
cool,
yeah.
really cool scenes. So I was comedy heroes starstruck, and
Sure.
decided that I don't know how I could even do this, but I had a
because
good
you
5
hadn't
minutes.
done stand-up or anything?
I'd done stand-up since I was 17.
Okay.
But when I was a guitar act, I was music parodies. I used to sing while my guitar gently weeps, and I would turn a valve and water poured out of my guitar. But that works in a room of 100 people.
Yeah.
You try that at where I tried it at Maple Leaf Gardens, opening for Max Webster, which no one knows who that is.
Nobody can see the water,
Nobody
and
could
they're like,
see.
what are you doing?
Electrocution would have been the only way out of that. but I chose to quit grad school, so that was like I
Wow.
actually said I'm not going to go to USC.
Wow, that's
and
amazing.
I went for 3 days of the preliminary introductory courses, and then I quit. So that's definitely
And were your
huge.
parents pretty bummed out about that?
No, because they were saving money on grad school. And my mother also, both my parents, but my mother especially, believed I could do anything. So
You got to have that somebody in your
somebody's a
life.
cheerleader, and some people don't have parents or don't have a good parent in that way, but a grandparent's like that. Sometimes a teacher or somebody.
Right.
But it's really good to have someone. It's
Somebody.
I don't know how people don't have. I don't think anyone great that's moved forward has had no one. They had.
You know
to have-
what? I just read this article about this guy who started this little restaurant in Los Angeles, but it's not a restaurant. It's his apartment, and it's the hardest place to get into to eat, and it's called Wolf Mouth or Wolf's Mouse. Wolf's Mouth. And I'll forward you this article about this guy.
But do you want
He's
to go into
never
his
had-
apartment?
Absolutely. This guy he used to cook for what is his name? The Coppola guy, the actor.
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. He used to cook for them, and anyway, had no one. Like his story is incredible, but he's doing incredible things. So it does happen if you have like this self-motivation. But for a guy like me, without someone like my mom, who was my biggest fan,
Right.
I don't know that I could have ever had the confidence to do it because I didn't have that inner thing that this young man has. So the last thing I wanted to ask you is, what are you going to do next, and how do people find out about you? Like, do you have Twitter and Instagram? Do you keep up with technology as it is? And what is the next step other than the book?
I am doing something that not many people have done. I have found a way to make myself young again.
Make yourself what?
Young.
Oh, good.
I'm going to, and I have Twitter. I have Instagram. It's all under my name, Bob Saget. You know, so you'll see it on these sites.
Okay.
It's like Benjamin Button, but I'm taking myself back to a sperm cell.
Oh,
I'm going to somehow. I've got machinery that I'm working on.
nice.
This guy cooks in his apartment. I built a chamber,
Yeah.
and it's kind of. You ever see Altered States years ago?
I love that. William Hurt.
William Hurt, and he went
movie.
back, and he was like, he's a goat. He's eating the blood of a goat, I believe.
He went back to primordial man.
Right. I'm going back to a sperm cell, which means I basically start in a palm. That's
in a palm.
in a palm.
Oh.
And so I've got to figure out. I'm not going to use a real person's hand. I'm just going to have like probably like a mannequin hand
Sure.
to be where I
I mean, that makes all the sense in the
where
world.
I begin, and then I'm going to recreate myself and do it right this time. So I'm not giving up this life. I'm
Right.
taking myself, disintegrating myself. I'm not sure how I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I know a couple of people that are in engineering and science. I haven't really talked to many people about it, but it's a chamber that I've built, and it's corrugated.
What
There's
is the chamber made out of?
Aluminum and cardboard. And I've got a mannequin hand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the mannequin hand in it on the ground of it. I might even I'm thinking of a cushion. So as I morph, as I turn into the new Bob, and
Yeah.
it'll be the same genetic makeup. It'll
me tell
be
you.
me.
From listening to you, I'm really looking forward to meeting the new Bob.
Right. And I'd love to come back again once I am.
Yeah, we'll do the podcast with new, better Bob.
It's not going to be this.
Sperm Bob.
I'm not going to have sperm Bob. It's not going to have this.
Sperm Bob
He won't have.
SquarePants.
I can't guarantee that I'll go off on tangents like this. I'm
Sure.
not sure what my personality will be like.
Oh, it's gonna be better.
Well, there's no parents. It's me just doing it. Just doing it for myself. Sisters doing it for themselves. And then you can read about it on.
Do you
I'll keep my
ever-
Twitter and my Instagram and my Facebook and all that stuff, and my website, bobsaget.com. I'll
to-
keep that through my.
Do you do this to keep from being close to people? Do you find?
That question makes me very uncomfortable. No, I think it's just a long time without laughs. So I liked riffing. It's kind of like jazz for me.
It's amazing. I mean, nobody's
relaxing for
Nobody's
me.
better at it.
Somebody must be.
I tend
No,
to.
I guarantee you,
I
somebody's
tend to
better at it.
Try to be smartass and whatever when I don't want to deal with real stuff.
Right.
I do that a lot around people. Like when I'm not vibing with my band or whoever's around, I just come in, try to tell a bunch of jokes or whatever the thing is to be real light, and then get the heck
Well, it
out.
makes life fun, and because life's hard enough, so
Right.
I guess for me, it's committing to the absurd, and then don't know where it's going to go, which comes from, I guess, trust and non-worry. So that's what I don't
You got
like.
a pretty good life right now, don't you?
I have a very nice life right now. My corrugated box is ready to go.
Yeah.
The mannequin hand is in place.
Yeah.
I've got, as far as the book, it's out probably now when this podcast is running.
Right.
And
It's
that's
called Dirty Daddy, which makes...
Dirty Daddy: The Chronicles of a Family Man Turned Filthy Comedian.
Is that really what it's called?
That's the byline.
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
on the cover. And then I'm going to Australia, which you've done many thousands of times, probably.
Not thousands,
10.
But yeah.
Do you love it?
I love Australia. It reminds me a lot of California. The energy, the vibe, the people are very Californian, just with an accent, and they all surf and have great times. I think that, Melbourne is going to be more like San Francisco. Sydney's going to be more like LA to me, but I think it's all lovely. The people.
So
there
the
are
chances of me finding someone that I could make children in a lab with,
great. Yes, they're there.
and
They're
they have
beautiful women.
centrifuges.
What's that?
Centrifuges, they have
Yes.
them,
Yeah, they have those.
so I could mix my lot.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to make triplet boys. I have 3 daughters. I haven't told this to anyone. I want to make triplet boys of 3 different nationalities. And I don't know how to do that. So I'm going to need a woman to allow many different men to help me show many sides of myself.
so
I don't know how to do that. What I'm trying to suggest is to have 3 children that speak 3 different languages, that are from 3 different cultures. I mean, if I had my druthers, I would want one of my children, all done natural childbirth.
well,
So the first one's, here's your. I don't even know if I want a white Anglo-Saxon or a Jewish white child. I don't know if I even want to see. I mean, I've done that already.
Sure.
So why not have,
but you want it to be your stuff.
Yes, I would love
You just want,
South American, Chinese,
yeah,
Alaskan.
right.
Right.
That
And
all
just-
makes a lot of sense to me.
Right, and
This-
by the
everything you
clothing
say
they
makes
wear
a
when
lot of
they're
sense to me.
clothing they wear when they're born, they come out like it's a small world. You know how they're all
Sure.
different
Like
culturally.
they
all wear
When you go to
different
Disney,
costumes.
they're all wearing like Eskimo clothes.
The
and-
garb will tell me upon their birth. Because the mom's going to be going through birth. So
Sure.
whoever she is. She's a donor I apparently met in Australia.
Right. This all makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
And so thanks so much for doing the podcast. I don't really know what to say past that. It's,
Why are you calling 911?
seriously though, thanks for making the time, man. I know that you're very busy. You have a book that comes out that you're going to go on a book tour. Where
I
can
am
people
going on a
see
book tour.
you when you go do that?
I am going to New York on the 8th. The book comes out April 8th, and that night I'm actually at the 92nd Street Y doing a Q&A, and I'll be in bookstores there, and I'm going to
cool.
be in LA a couple weeks later at the Aero Theater. Has a non-for-profit Q&A type of thing set
cool.
up, in the interesting.
Will you read like a little part of the
I
book?
don't know. I don't know what they
Yeah,
expect.
you've never done it, right?
And I'm going to San Francisco. I'm playing some. I believe the high end, which is redundant, Jewish Community Center there. They have a like 1,000-seat auditorium that they have people that speak. And I'm doing
Will you
Washington
do some
D.C.
stand up at the event that we're going to do in?
a little bit. That's April 23rd.
Yep.
In San Francisco, which is beyond kind of you. And my friend Jeff Garland's coming up. He's going to do a little stand up.
Great.
Great.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be doing I'll definitely do some stand up, but I'm there also as the host that.
Sure.
And there's,
John Mayer did your event once, didn't he?
he did in
That was
LA.
nice.
And Counting Crows did
Oh, that's
the
cool.
San Francisco event that
Cool.
Train is doing the 23rd a few years ago. It's, people are very, very appreciative. Everybody's very excited that you're doing this. There are some, well, you're married, right?
We'll see. Well, by April, we'll see.
Yeah, if you can get out, there are, there's women there, and I'm happy to introduce you. If you're out, I'll just say he's recently split up.
I like it.
for tonight.
Yeah.
If
For
you
the
want to
night?
bring your wife, I could try to find you a third party.
I'm not into dudes.
No, it could be a girl,
okay.
or it could be it doesn't really matter. You can get a combo platter. You can get somebody that's got a little bit of both.
It
You
is
know-
the city.
You could get like a guy, but who doesn't have an Adam's apple, so it would
Yeah.
feel girl-like.
If a guy you get has concave areas,
Cave.
cave, yeah, I know. And I didn't mean to put you through the vex, but a vex would be like a raised area. But no Adam's apple. that's concave. And if you had no package down below, it'd be like a place you could put fruit. Like grapes, figs, nuts, dates. That's what I would do. I would.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Right?
Are you getting?
If I wasn't
Are you
endowed,
getting this joke that I'm trying to? When I say that makes a lot of sense to me, it's the opposite.
Yeah. You're saying that that's insane, and we need to get you out of here. You're scaring us. I think you're frightening us. Someone twittered me yesterday, and I know we have to go because everybody's very, very busy. but somebody twittered, said you want to be. Yeah, it's great to have Bob Saget as your best friend if you like being with an insane person. That was the insult. But I didn't block her because it seemed like she almost knew me.
But that's like not, to me, I'll retweet Twitter hate if it's funny. But
Right.
if it's not funny, like Patton Oswalt will sometimes...
It's funny.
insult Train, and I'll be like, "Thank you, dude." If you
He
like
insults Train?
I'll be like, "If you like my band, then I can't like you anymore because a guy like you can't like my band because his whole thing is indie rock." It's like when I see.
Oh, that's terrible. He could be such a funny guy.
No, it's fine. I don't mind it at all. Like, it really is not insulting to me because I'm a fan of his.
His anti.
Yeah,
Right.
the anti. It's kind of like what is Jimmy Kimmel's ex-girlfriend's name? That
Sarah Silverman?
Sarah Silverman. Like when I
I'm
see,
sure she'd love that handle.
yeah, I know. Like when I shouldn't say that, but when I see her, she never would. She can't say I like your band. She only says I like when you're on Howard's show. I love you on the show. That's what she said. Which makes sense to me. She can't. She
does not
rock.
have a disingenuous moment for who she is.
Right. And she's not supposed to like Train. She's supposed to like, I don't know, maybe not even Kings of Leon, like something that no one knows yet. And then
Right.
as soon as people know it, she has to hate it again because that's just like what the world that they live in. So it makes sense. But
She actually said to me, you're so much funnier when you're not in love.
that's what she said to you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
And she was right.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Because when you're content and you've got someone, you are happier.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this goes against everything we talked about, I think 4 hours ago when the podcast began.
Yeah.
But there is an angst that drives stand-up where you get to be joyous in your stand-up because it takes away any sadness or negative feelings. But then if you're in a really good place emotionally, then you come out and go, I've done that where I've performed and I've gone, I'm so happy right now. I'm in love.
Yeah.
And a few people cheer. There are a couple of girls with a guy that,
Right.
and a couple of other couples.
But everybody else is like, why did I come to this
pretty
shit
miserable.
show?
They really want it. They want to know you're hurting.
Yeah, it's so true, right?
And you
it's
write
kind of like
songs that hit-
songwriting.
Yeah, you're hitting people in a place.
This new record is much more about getting my ass kicked than finding the love of my life. Because you can never forget those times. And
No.
even when you're, in the best relationship in the world, there's plenty of getting your ass kicked going on.
And it helps you. It's a gift to people to hear a song like that and love a song like that because they're not alone.
That's right.
You're right there helping them through. And there's many, many songs that you go, oh my God, that is exactly what I've been. Damian Rice is very talented at writing songs that
He'll help you feel terrible
make
about
you
stuff.
want to cut something open.
Yeah. Or shave something down.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Bob Saget.
It is so nice. If you can get rid of anything singing or any mention of Adam's apple or my name, it would be.
All right.
It was
Thanks
such a
lot.
pleasure. Thanks.
I can't wait for Sperm Bob.
That was Bob Saget. And you heard it right here first, ladies and gentlemen. Soon to be Sperm Bob. Find out more about Bob or Sperm Bob at dirtydaddy.bobsaget.com. He's doing stand-up dates right now, so go check out his live performance. His stand-up is incredible. I've seen it, and it's shockingly shockingly shocking. But it's so funny. He's one of the greats, in my opinion. And you can check him out at Bob Saget on Instagram and Twitter. And keep checking the Patcast. You can go to patcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher Radio subscriptions to hear your new Patcast every Monday. We'll be back soon with new guests and more music for you. So until then, have a great week.